We cherry pick founders. We accelerate.
We disrupt the early stage funding.
Hey everybody, welcome on stage. So glad to have you on stage as well, Courtney. So tell a word about you, who you are.
Hi, Ludovic. Welcome everyone in the audience watching today. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is a really special event for us. This isn't a normal demo day. We're really excited to have Inovexus doing their LP drop today on Stonks. We are a fundraising platform, and that means that we help everyone, investors, angel investors, VCs, connect with their community. So we're a fundraising platform that builds a community. And right now you have an opportunity to join Stonks community by being here, which you've already done, so well done. And you also have the opportunity to join the Inovexus community. The way that you guys are going to do that is by getting an intro to Philippe. We're going to practice now on a totally fake company. Yes, the traction looks amazing and the deck is beautiful, but this is a completely fake practice company. It's called Gooper, and it's going to be just below you. You're just going to hit that get intro button. A modal is going to pop up. It's going to ask you for your average check size and for a little bit about you. So go ahead and practice. You'll see all of those messages showing up in the chat, and you'll be able to connect with all of the other investors. Super excited for this event today. I know we've got some incredible speakers lined up. Ludovic, back to you.
Thank you. And I see more and more people joining here. So it's welcome to the new ones. So yes, I'm Ludo. I'm part of the investment team. At Inovexus, we are doing quite new thing for the European market. First, we are cross-border acceleration funds. It means that we are bringing back from all over the world funding and mentoring to the most promising pre-seed startup to make them VC fundable by the best VCs over the globe. So we are making them global. Today is a special event for us and for you guys because it's a special opportunity to join us as a limited partners. Those guys, you will be able to invest in the fund, and we will talk about it today through a cool lineup because, of course, we'll have Philippe on stage, founding partner at Inovexus, talking about the community. Then we'll have Julie Campistron, one of our mentors, talking about mentorship at Inovexus. Then we'll welcome Mark Steiner, an investor from London, investing as well as a GP and maybe soon a limited partner at the end of this event. Then it will be Julien Etex, really good at market trends, early stage in the US, early stage in Europe, early stage globally. And finally, we'll have Yin from our portfolio founders. And through this lineup, you will be able to understand everything about Inovexus and, of course, get an intro to Philippe, our founding partner, and maybe jump in our community. So thank you, Courtney, to be here today. We'll jump to our first guest, Philippe Roche. Hey, Philippe, welcome on stage. Happy to see you here.
Thanks, Will. Likewise.
So tell us more. What is your story first?
My story, oh my God, long story. I'll try to make it short. Mostly, it's 25 years of experience in California as an entrepreneur. Been involved in the 3D technology, one exit. And 2015, decided to be involved in the financial investment opportunities I had already in California. And looking at the Y Combinator model, that's something interesting should be explored, especially targeting European market. And my idea was actually to explore what I call the reverse YC model, which is pretty much not inviting startups to come over in the US. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, right thing to do, but My idea was more targeting outside of the US, interesting startup and new countries to receive actually the American smart money. That was the original idea, and that's how I actually decided to be involved in. Moving forward, receiving a bank into the equity of Inovexus, decided to actually move the company in Europe, and really focusing on Europe right now so far. But after a while, realized that actually the model is highly scalable. It could be actually global. So we're now on path to become one of the first global acceleration funds.
Okay, you will explain. So, a quick questions about you. Are you more French or American?
Neither and both, as a matter of fact. But actually, I have an American mindset, business-wise. There's no doubt about it. I'm very much, even California mindset, very much entrepreneur. I'm still French in a way. I like to argue. I'm stubborn, but no, it's really having an American mindset, and I really have a global also mindset. So looking at the world, I was again this morning with a Japanese fund, willing and interested to actually push us toward the Japanese market, which plan to become a startup nation. So
okay, so it's part of the YC reverse model. So explain us in one simple sentence, what is the Inovexus model? Like, what do you do for European startup companies?
So being a global acceleration fund means first you're an investor. We invest in pre-seed stage. Usually in Europe, we invest 150K in pre-seed. We don't necessarily negotiate the capital floor, but we try to be fair with the startup and try to make a good deal. We also provide an acceleration program, which is actually designed and provided by portion of the investors that also business angels and a mentor that comes to feed the whole community and be able to make it happen through the acceleration program. So being able to provide both in pre-seed with a really, again, a global mindset makes a huge difference for startup companies. And they got all they need right now to be able to actually think global.
Exactly. What does it mean cross-border for an early stage companies somewhere in the world? What does it bring at this stage?
In the tech industry, you have to think global from day one. You improve dramatically your chance of success by having an American, a California business angel, and also mentor being involved in the process. Maybe also somebody from Singapore, somebody from London, somebody from Germany. Having those mentors to be able to actually invest in your company and share the experience to help you become successful with this cross-border mindset makes a huge difference. Trust me. That's what we've seen for the past few years.
And who is your community today? How is it structured internally? How are they getting involved in the process?
So the community actually is built by itself by first having the investors organized again by the demo day from Stonks, which help us really provide and feed again the whole community of those business angels, not again involved as investor, but also as mentor. So those mentors are being organized obviously by your Inovexus to be able to be involved following a specific roadmaps and KPIs to help the company close the pre-seed and also prepare for the seed and series A round. So preparing those companies to be able to raise money from foreign investors, cross-border investors, business angels, VCs, and family office is really one of the main points we really address the company and the startup company in pre-seed.
So today you have 300 cross-border entrepreneurs who want to give back, some GP, limited partners, builders. Could you explain this?
So the community has actually different layers. That's exactly right. We have those what we call the builders, that people that actually jump first to be able to actually participate in deals. They like to see deals through syndicates. We have multiple syndicates every month, all the time. We also have what we call the LPs, which is technically the entry point to be able to start really being involved in the rolling fund and be able to be in multiple deals, which is, as a matter of fact, what we heard today. Being part of the rolling fund, especially with a special deal we have just today through Stonks demo day events, is 0% fee, 0% carried, just to be part of all the deals. Because once you see all the deals, maybe you would like to be more involved as an investor or as a mentor in one of those deals. We're going to have approximately between 15 to 20 deals for the next 3-4 months. You need to be involved in all of them. You don't have necessarily the time to be able to choose. So the rolling funds gives you this opportunity to actually be involved in the deal we like to choose moving forward. And being part of the community, again, the different layer you'd like to be, this is the best chance for you to be involved in the community and keep being involved as we grow and move forward. We have 300 mentors and investors, as you said earlier. We plan to have probably between 5,000 to 7,000 in the next 6 to 9 months. It's growing crazy, it's growing fast. So
yeah, so today is Rolling Fund. So could you explain more? What is it? I know that it's quarterly basis. You have special terms today to invest in the incoming 15 companies, 2 demo days.
So the Rolling Funds is really the easier tool and process to be involved as part of the community investors / mentor. The commitment is super flexible. Obviously, I encourage obviously to make a commitment as long as possible, because I don't think we can have another zero fee, zero carry, the best of Europe coming up. So be able to be involved in the process. You can always reduce, improve your commitment as we move forward. But as I said, at least you're going to be involved in all the deals. So being involved in all the deals gives you the rights as a pro-rata shareholder, right, to be the first one to have access to the upcoming fundraising process for the same startup.
Okay, so if I understood well, I'm a limited partner investing in your fund. 0% management fees means that all my cash is going right away to the startups.
100% of the cash, exactly.
The second thing is like carry B, 0% carry B means that when I will do in 5 years an X5 returns on your fund, all the return will come back to my pocket.
100% of the cash is being returned. Yes, absolutely. Super. That's why it is just one single event we have for that specific Rolling Funds demo day event today.
Super. And talk a bit about the paid forward, because it seems to be really the main motivations of people to be here.
The paid forward is really what most, without saying all, community members are sharing together. Again, it's not just about investing, it's also about sharing their experience and be able to improve the potential success rate of all the startups we are being involved with. At the end of the day, cash is not everything. We're providing obviously great companies, great sourcing, great startups in the sourcing process. We want to be able to really improve and reach a high success rate. And that's going to be what the acceleration program is about. So that's the goal.
So Patagonia CEO seems to be a great give backer in your community.
It should be the main community member of the company. Absolutely. Hopefully someday it will.
Super. Well, thank you, Philippe. It was a great jump. We'll have a talk with Julie Campistron now.
Thanks. And don't forget to commit, guys. Right now is the time to do it. So good luck.
Very good.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Julie, really cool to have you aboard today. So where are you? Are you in France today?
Yeah, I'm in France now. It's only been a year after 18 years in LA. I just moved my family to France for
oh my God, adventure. With an American husband as well.
Exactly. Yeah, first time in France after spending his whole life in LA. So it's been quite the adjustment, but it's been good.
Yeah, so tell us more about what is your story? You're French founders in the US, now in France.
Sure, yeah. So I started my career in France, but I have a very international background. I was an expat kid, worked at L'Oreal and Yahoo in France, and then moved to LA about 18 years ago. So I have experience with big companies, L'Oreal and Demand Media and Yahoo. And then my most recent experience was Stop, Breathe, and Think, which was a startup that I was the CEO and co-founder of, that I ran for about 4 years, and then that we sold to a big media company called Meredith. So most of my really DNA comes from the US. Most of my career was spent in the US, but I had really the desire to come back to France, have experienced really the ecosystem here, and see what I could bring from my US experience back to French entrepreneurs, and it's been really interesting to see that.
Yes, so that's good aspect. What are the main difference between the early stage market in the US and the early stage market in Europe, and maybe in other parts of the world? What do you see in terms of difference?
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, being an entrepreneur in the US and very early stage, I mean, we started, it was just 2 co-founders, so it was very early stage, scale. And I think the model of acceleration is actually a model that works really well in the US. There's a lot of accelerators. We ended up being part of 3 accelerators for different reasons, Amplify, for really connecting us with the investor community, because I didn't really have that experience. We were part of an accelerator in digital health, and because we had a wellness app. And then we were part of the Snapchat program that was also an accelerator. And I just found that kind of really organized and at scale mentorship programs where you're both like with other entrepreneurs facing similar issues, but also really learning from experiences of more experienced entrepreneurs was super helpful. And obviously the scale of investment too is just, there. And so I think that's, that model is relatively unique, I think, in terms of how it's been developed in the US. And I think, Inovexus is one of the examples of really trying to bring that model in France. I think it has just a ton of value for the entrepreneurs.
Yep, and for the audience, you are a GP, a general partner, so it means that you have a shareholders from the beginning at Inovexus and help us grow this model from France to Europe and maybe globally in the future. So, and yeah, you are talking about the European founders. What are they missing compared to the US? Why we don't have yet this next Google, Mark Zuckerberg, or I don't know?
I think there are some great successes. I think Philippe just, talked about Spotify. Obviously it's not French, but it's European. I think there's definitely potential. I think there's already some great successes. I think what I see as I talk to early stage entrepreneurs, the two things that really are missing is the being relaxed about having a big ambition and expressing it. And I think that's always difficult. And I know it was difficult for me culturally, even though I had lived in the US for such a long time. I think my French culture and DNA tended to make me present in a way that maybe wasn't just as like relaxed about like, I want to be, I want this business to be huge. And I think extracting the vision to a level where you're less about the tactical aspects, because when you're early stage, it's really about getting people fired up about your vision. And that vision needs to be as big and ambitious as you can. And yeah, a million things will get in the way. But if you're not able to really storytell in a way that's compelling, I think you're kind of missing the point at that stage. I think later on, it's more about the numbers and it's more about, some of the kind of blocking and tackling. And then I think also at early stage, it's really about the team. And again, I think sometimes there's a little bit of a, not being able to present yourself in the same really ambitious and kind of relaxed way of like tooting your own horn, as they say in the US. And it was interesting because I worked on my bio for, to kind of send for French companies. And I had done it in the third person because that's kind of what you do in the US when you're like pretty serious. And the feedback I got from some French folks was, it feels a bit pedantic. And it was just funny to me as I did it in first person because you want to adapt to the cultural, obviously idiosyncrasies, but it was kind of interesting to me that, there is a little bit that feeling that, you can't be too boastful about your own experience. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs, could be more just bold about saying why they're so great and why they're so talented, because they've taken a huge risk.
Yep. So you are as well a mentor at Inovexus. So it means that at Inovexus, based on the investment thesis, we are selecting 30 people in the community to be really a mentor. So we have more people from the business side, technical side, and venture side. And we used to build a roadmap with one lead mentor in business, one lead mentor in tech, one lead mentor in ventures. How is it to be a mentor at Inovexus? How you told me about a structured way of mentorship. What is it exactly?
Yeah, I think what's really unique, and actually it's something I didn't necessarily experience in the US in the accelerator programs I was part of, is really this idea that you have a team of mentors that are really attached to your project in a way that's a little bit more long-term. In a lot of accelerators in the US, it's a lot of people just coming in and out, giving lectures or spending, a little bit of time, but then it kind of rotates because they bring in different folks. So I like the fact that, Inovexus and the operational team, you and the folks really set kind of what are the goals. And so as mentors, you're helping advise, but with specific operational goals in mind, or, specific things you need to deliver, right? Whether it's a pitch deck, whether it's, recruiting, whether it's a business, business model, pricing, whatever. And I think that really helps the mentors kind of bring in the right advice versus just general advice. And I think it helps the entrepreneur really have a track that they can follow. And then the other thing that I thought was, is it really interesting in the Inovexus model is that you really have mentors from different backgrounds. So a lot of mentors are usually business. I think it's really interesting that you actually have a lot of folks coming from tech, whether it's Christophe Louvion or Christophe Join from Netflix, or but also people coming from ventures, and so I think the mix of that, of not just business, but also folks who can bring in other aspects of experience is really valuable and really
exactly. And we see it like investing in pre-seed. The value prop is quite unique in Europe because base founders don't need only cash; they need really smart money, and bringing back this DNA with those great mentors, it's really valuable for them. Maybe a really quick and last questions. What kind of founders do you like to mentor?
Yeah, I think it's a combination, which is not easy to find, of people who are coachable enough that you can actually provide feedback, and they are not so attached and rigid with regards to, like, they know they have things to learn. I had a mentor of mine actually from back in my Yahoo days who was saying, if you're not willing to learn all the time, then that's when the ceiling happens. And I think we can learn, like, I was an entrepreneur relatively older, in terms of or later in my career, but I still had so many things to learn. And I think if you come in with the humility and being humble from that standpoint of people have things to bring you, but you also can't be too flip-floppy. Like, you need to have some conviction. And that combination is hard. And it's hard as an entrepreneur because you want to take the input, but you also want to make sure you're not losing, But I think, at the end of the day, what's great, I think, about this model and the folks who are mentoring is, again, they come from different backgrounds. We have a lot of sessions where we hear different mentors' perspective amongst each other, and that community really helps bring it home for the entrepreneur. And I really felt as an entrepreneur, like, it takes a village. As often families say that about raising kids, but I think getting a startup to the finish line, whatever that finish line is, takes a village. And I think it's great to have entrepreneurs who are conscious of that it's not just about a one woman, one man show. It's about, who you're going to be able to convince to help you, who you're going to bring along the way. And that's really important for the success of the company.
And we saw it exactly this, like in the first track we have built at Inovexus, we invested in 6 companies already, 2 in Germany, 3 in France, 1 in the UK. And to me, we have 2 kind of persona. You have these kind of founders who are really young, former BCG consultant, and they are such a good execution, and they are humble enough to say, okay, I need to learn from people who scale companies, ventures before in their life. And you have the second part of the community who are more like people who are already founding companies before. They exited to, for example, Deezer, Pharmagenius. They were angels themselves in German companies, but they know that the market is moving and they need to learn more things coming from the cross-border to not build the next venture as a German companies, but at a really global companies. So that's why they are taking to learn from the beginning at Inovexus. So
no, for sure. And I think that international spirit and really seeing that, you're trying to build a global business is really key. And I think having folks who can help with that cross-border DNA is pretty critical.
Yep. So thank you, Julie. It was great to have you here today on stage. And see you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Hey Mark, so cool to have you here on stage. So where are you? Are you in London, or you told me that you were in Munich at Oktoberfest?
Hi Ludovic, great to see you first of all. Always great talking to you. I'm in Munich at the moment. I just haven't had a chance to change my background picture. It's still in London, but yeah.
And you are from Germany. Tell a bit about your story, who you are, what you are doing
absolutely.
At the moment.
I am from Germany. Yeah, I moved to London in 2005 to work in investment banking, and been doing that for 17 years, doing some angel investing on the side, and decided to focus even more on angel investing, helping companies grow. I'm an advisor, a mentor, and board member to some of the portfolio companies, and joined Inovexus as a GP to help other companies grow.
Exactly. So you are a GP at Inovexus. GP means general partner. You are like shareholders of the holding and supporting Philip and all the team to grow Inovexus globally. So we are starting here in Europe. I wanted to come back on your angel's role. What do you like to bring as a cross-border investors? What is cross-border investment for you as an angel?
I would like to bring my experience, first of all, that I've gathered across the years in finance and beyond. And I want to bring a little bit of my cross-border mindset. I've been working for global investment banks, almost out of London, with international teams. I enjoy to work with people located in different areas. Doesn't have to be, but I enjoy that. And I'd like to bring obviously my network into the system to help startups exploit their full potential, and hopefully also a little bit of my positive mindset.
It's really American. Yeah, and Mark, you are today a GP and you are considering yourself as joining as a limited partner. So limited partners are investors in the fund, and you will be able to split all your investments in the Inovexus portfolio. So why are you motivated by investing as a limited partners? And of course, I can help you with the answer.
Thank you. I'm not sure I need your answer. I'm very confident. What I do like about the idea and about the platform is, I mean, first of all, it's meant to filter quite a lot of deals and due diligence it, and gives me access basically to great deals that have been already filtered. What I do enjoy a lot is it's this big network of international mentors, where I think even post-investment into these companies shall have a great support from this international community of mentors. And this is actually what you also are referring to regarding the cross-border approach. So as startups are going to grow, they might want to hear about experiences in other countries, about mentors who have been gone through similar situations, living somewhere else, and maybe even when they are growing, they're considering expanding their markets into these fields. And I believe a great quality of mentors with an international approach situated potentially at some point across the globe should also help the companies to grow and also weather a potentially more challenging environment. And I believe that is something that brings me to the platform, as well as the opportunity to give back, as in like not just giving funding, but to also help companies grow and thrive with my experience and my network.
Yeah, really good answer. You don't need me here. And thinking about cross-border investments and talking about the current market downturn, what does it bring? Like, for example, today $1 is equal to €1. So, and valuations are lower in Europe. Funders are great. So, do you see this as an opportunity to invest in a cross-border way, where the opportunity is good at a given moment?
Yeah, I mean, as you say rightly, currencies are very weak outside the US. So for US dollar denominated investors or US dollar based investors, assets in euro have become relatively cheap. So there are opportunities in this challenging environment as valuations come down, as the currency is weak. Obviously, you will have two potential positive aspects of your, adding to your investment thesis. But obviously that's not everything. That's a nice add-on. I think Europe has been not undiscovered, but probably underappreciated. So while a lot of investors have been looking at Europe, you come across quite often various answers, people saying the American VCs still prefer to invest in the US, they know the market better, but at the same time probably missing out on opportunities because Europe has a large pool of talented entrepreneurs. I mean, as you know, in France we have great engineers, we have good engineers in Germany and other countries, we have a big market. The market in Europe is as big as it is in the US if you're adding all the countries. So I think there are still opportunities to invest, and what it takes is a platform like Inovexus that is capable of screening all the deals, selecting the great ones hopefully, and with a cross-border approach to help these companies actually grow into the certain stages where they can expand even further. And I think that is a particular appeal for that platform like Inovexus brings along. And obviously you have entrepreneurs based in Silicon Valley, in London, across the globe basically, and hopefully all these entrepreneurs can help with potential challenges or questions the European entrepreneurs have. And I'm very optimistic we are going to find great companies based out of Europe.
Okay, and my final questions, yes or no answers. Could we find the next Steve Jobs of Mark Zuckerberg here in Europe?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Mark. I will let you have a beer with your friend at the Oktoberfest. Please find me some deals as well. And thank you for coming.
I will very much. I will have a beer for you as well. Thank you so much.
Super cool. Thank you, Mark. Bye.
Bye. Cheers.
Hi, Julien. Really glad to have you on stage today. So please tell us more about what is your story, short.
Hi, Ludo. Ex-JP Morgan for many years, Switzerland and Paris. Helped entrepreneurs to exit their large entrepreneurial stories, including Criteo, Zadig & Volters, and several others. Then worked as a venture capitalist in California on behalf of Airbus Ventures. And then I did the opposite in Europe for upfront, i.e. investing American capital in European companies. I've recently joined a single family office and I'm in charge of their wider platform.
Okay, so thank you. You are cross-border investors. So Inovexus allows investors from all over the world to invest in European pre-seed startups. What are the benefits for cross-border investors to invest in early stage in Europe?
I think Europe is definitely interesting for several reasons right now, right? First of all, I think nobody ignores that the euro is a lot weaker right now. So from a valuation standpoint, you're immediately getting a 20 to 30% discount. Whereas these companies being born in Europe, the successful ones are actually going to the US and participating to the equity story dollar-based, using dollar valuation when they're finally crossing the border and succeeding in piercing the American market. So that's a key factor. The second one is that European companies are innovating in slightly different areas than the American entrepreneurs. So there is a mix of skill set and experiences which are different. The fragmentation of the market also enables entrepreneurs to think differently about issues. And so there is just an opportunity set that is different and definitely exciting right now.
Okay, and nowadays we are talking a lot about VC dry powder. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, VCs have fundraised significantly over the past few years. I was at this IPEM event just last week in Cannes, and I've been able to speak with a lot of funds I'm an LP of, including NEA. NEA has been, I think, fascinating in how disciplined they were investing in late-stage companies in the last 12 months. They've deployed less than 10% of their gross vehicle because the price from the sellers, let's say entrepreneurs, and the price that the growth funds are looking at are still very widely different, right? You're looking at a 40 to 50% discount that is in the making for very late-stage companies, and I'm talking about multi-100 million more enterprise value startups. For the early-stage vehicle, though, they've invested at an even more rapid pace than their previous vintage. Two reasons for that. First, valuations at an early stage were reasonable and remain relatively reasonable at seed. Series A already starts to become stratospheric, but at seed stage it remains interesting. And the second aspect is that a number of great talent, software developers, product managers, talented people in their 40s typically, that have received extensive packages at late-stage companies or listed tech companies, well, guess what? 3/4 of their compensation is in stock. This stock is pretty much worth zero today. And so a number of these great talent are exiting the workforce as employees and starting startup right now. So the breadth of entrepreneurs that are starting new companies in the US and also in Europe, because a lot of these talents actually are European and are coming back to Europe post-COVID, or were based in Europe as remote workers, are bringing a new wave of opportunities in the early stage segment.
So, and talking about founders, like investing in pre-seed is really different compared to the other ventures model. So for you, what is the right ventures model for the pre-seed investment?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, investing in pre-seed, I think every successful person on this planet has tried to sign a few angel checks left and right for friends, friend of friends, and just create projects. And usually, unless you're pretty lucky, it's not ending very well, right? Investing in pre-seed, I think, can't be a hobby. It has to be structured. You need to have the proper discipline around it. And you have two ways you can go, two successful models, mainly either statistical, so you need to write many checks to achieve the diversification factor you actually need. And so we're talking about a portfolio of 50 to 100 names over 3 to 4 years. That's typically what I'm aiming at if I want to have a good portfolio, taking into account the failure rates of a normal cycle. I think we've been through golden age in the past, and this time, you need to have a proper diversification level. And the other aspect is obviously the mentoring and the coaching, meaning that you need to help entrepreneurs supplement their strengths and weaknesses in key areas. Is it the equity story and the pitch that they need help for? Is it to actually hire a top executive? Is it to finalize and polish the product? You'd be amazed how much help these entrepreneurs need to actually be successful and go to the next stage. And if you mix both aspects, it becomes almost impossible, right? You can't invest 50 companies per year and coach them individually. And so that's why I think you need a platform to make it work, or at least have these resources on the roster to maximize the chance that some of them will be big successes.
Yeah, so, and being close to Inovexus from the beginning, for you, what is the investment thesis DNA? What kind of founders do we like at Inovexus?
I think Inovexus is interesting because first of all, it's a remote first company in the mindset. So it really grew during COVID. It's perfectly aligned with the way entrepreneurs in 2021, 2022, 2023 are thinking. You need to think the same way to be attractive, right? You can't apply old-fashioned VC models to win deals and to win entrepreneurs at this stage. Inovexus has invested in a large number of people, pretty much a large number of people that are consultants, bringing mentorship and bringing expertise, usually for free or with very little incentive, just because they love to speak to great entrepreneurs and they love to help the right projects to blossom. And I think that's been a unique strength of Inovexus to bring this world around them to make investment a success. So that's honestly the key aspect. The second one is obviously to have this angle for cross-border investments, i.e. finding entrepreneurs in Europe that have the right DNA, the right culture, the right spirit to be successful in the US. And that's not obvious, right? I'm French, but the average French person, frankly, can't work in the US. The average German person doesn't have the mindset also to bring a company to an equity story that will be attractive for American investor. You need to have the drive, you need to have the ambition, you need to have the charisma, and also the ability to speak English properly to operate efficiently in the US. And Inovexus is, I think, a great filter around that.
Thank you, Julien, for all those answers. And see you really soon in the community.
Thank you.
Hey, Yin, so glad to have you on stage today. So please tell us more about what is your story, who you are inside the Inovexus community.
So hi Ludo, nice to see you again. So a bit about my background is that I studied computer science at St. Andrews. So that's how I came to the UK from Singapore. And I came to London to study innovation, entrepreneurship and management at Imperial College London. And London was a great place to start a company. So currently at the moment, this is my third startup. And right now, my startup that I'm running is called Iconic, and we allow people to have fractional ownership of luxury goods and rare collectibles so that they can reap the benefits, the investment benefits that make the rich richer whilst making it accessible to the average Joes.
Okay, so you have the chance, Yin, to be one of the founders who will invest in the incoming quarter in this exciting idea. More questions. As a pre-seed founder, what do you need to build the next Revolut in Europe?
So, as a pre-seed founder, you need to think globally from day one. So, you need to be with the right experts and mentors that have built huge successful companies so that you can learn, you can have their guidance and also avoid their mistakes that they made early on. And you also need to understand from being surrounded by this powerful network, what are the upcoming trends? What do investors want to hear and what are they looking for? And that's a very powerful sort of foundation to have.
And I remember during the investment committee process, you showed us a slide with wanted Inovexus alongside Techstars and Y Combinator. What do Inovexus bring else compared to the others?
Yeah, so with Inovexus, they gave us the proof of concept that our idea, which is based in the UK, it was also attractive to the European market and American investors. Techstars, they were supporting us from the idea stage to pre-seed, and Inovexus, they'll support us from the pre-seed to the seed funding stage.
To be VC fundable by maybe the best VCs. Okay, and now reverse questions like, what are the three things you are looking at when it comes to choose your investors?
Good question. So number one would be knowledge and experience in our industry, which is very important for them to have sort of skin in the game and to understand sort of like and put us with the right contacts for network purposes. Secondly, and arguably the most important thing is that you have to get along with your investor. Some investor relationships last longer than some marriages, so you have to make sure that you get along with them, that they it's bound to happen where you might have some arguments, or not arguments, but more like constructive criticism, and you have to handle it in a way that your relationship doesn't get broken. So that's really important. And of course, finally funding, which is, a pinnacle thing for the company to run and to expand.
Looks smart. Thank you, Ian, for being here today. I will see you next time, maybe in London or Paris, and see you soon.
Sounds good. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you, Courtney, to be back. So now the opportunity will be to jump to an investment and join us as limited partners. So to do it, you will have the Rolling Fund page on AngelList and as well the Stonk page for the next 15 days. But Courtney, do you want to share the final words to our event?
Oh, I just also wanted to say a great job to everyone at the Inovexus team. That was incredible. I feel like I learned a lot. I'm sure all of you did. It was a really wonderful and well-produced thing. So thank you guys so much for being on here and for doing that. But hey, everyone, you only have 15 days left. This is a 15-day opportunity for you to get into this community, the Inovexus community, as well as the Stonks community. This will give you access to all of their future demo days, all of the demo days on Stonks, and really help grow this incredible idea. So I think everyone should just head on, make some intros, get going, and I can't wait to see you at the next one.
Thank you, Courtney. Let's go and jump in the Get Intro button. Thank you. Bye. See you guys.
Take care.